we bring to you a report on what to do in case of heavy rain. There's nothing like preparation when it comes to torrential downpour. Isn't that right?
That's right. You must turn off your gas and electricity and quickly evacuate from areas vulnerable to flash flooding.
What should we do if we are already outside?
Evacuate to a safe place, away from construction sites, underground spaces, and areas prone to frequent flooding. If you're driving, do not stop the car. Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전 디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
There's been a lot of uncertainty lately because of the ongoing tariff negotiations between South Korea and the U.S., right? One thing that is certain is this, they always say this, ironclad alliance between the two countries militarily, which U.S. President Donald Trump himself confirmed in a statement made in commemoration of the National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day that was held a couple days ago. As North Korea ratchets up the rhetoric again, the course relationship will need to remain robust. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Wednesday, July 30th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, wavers, and especially to all your early birds. I love how some of you are waiting to check in with us nice and early on our YouTube page. So thanks for the enthusiasm. I really appreciate that. Well, you know, the top concern for the country right now are these ongoing trade negotiations with the U.S. All eyes are on Washington, D.C., as several top South Korean officials are there for talks with various Trump administration officials. But for now, we're going to turn our eyes to the local industries and how they may be affected by the tariffs. Anticipation and tensions are high across Busan, Ulsan, and Gyeongnam, Buulgyeong, as companies here are heavily dependent on the industries subject to the tariffs. Buulgyeong economies are quite dependent on the automobile, auto parts, and steel industries, which are all subject to Trump's tariffs. And for the steel industry, the point is to watch whether the Trump administration will impose the same 50% tariff it has for all the other countries it has already reached an agreement with. For the auto industry, unless the South Korean government can strike a 15% deal, as Japan and the EU have already, the shock across local companies will be felt, and it'll be quite heavy. Experts say that in these cases, South Korean companies manufacturing their cars in the U.S. will likely turn to American auto parts companies to ease the financial blow. And of course, even the 15% tariff will be a burden, but at least they will be able to avoid the worst case scenario with this. the shipping industry, they're also on the edge of their seats as it is a major part of the South Korean government's investment package for the U.S. So what happens in Washington in the next couple of days may very well affect Busan Industries. So we're going to await those results with bated breath. And now it's time for a text topic. Are you ready? Here we go. If a restaurant has good food, but poor service, meaning bad service, do you go back or not? 자, 나는 식당에서 불친절해도 맛만 있으면 간다 versus 친절이 중요하다, 다시 가지 않는다. So those are your two choices. You can send in your opinions, your thoughts to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and to find us, type in BEFM or 부산 영어 방송. You'll find our channel. You can subscribe and then you can log in and chat with our other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050 샵 0050. That's going to cost you 101. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. To find us there, also BEFM or 부산 영어 방송, and then add us as a friend first, and then you can send in your messages, photos as well. The ways you can tune into our program, Morning Wave in Busan, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. That's on the radio if you're in Busan. Like I said, we're streaming live right now on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. And we're available on the BFM app and also the Papang app. Let's look ahead to our morning together. It's already hump day. First up, we have Lian for hour number 1. Now next in hour number 2, Jennifer for work in progress. For our special interview, we've been talking about space exploration and the race to the moon and Mars and beyond. So South Korea has joined in on that race. We've talked about this before. And so we're going to talk about the ambitious lunar-based project with our expert. That's coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with news overview. It's time for news overview. It's now 7:05. Samsung Electronics Lee Jae-yong heads to the U.S. Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Jae-yong has departed for Washington, D.C. for global business cooperation, where he's widely expected to play a role in the ongoing trade talks with the U.S. President condemns POSCO E&C fatal industrial accident. President Lee Jae-myung criticized the fatal industrial accident at POSCO E&C, calling out the company for continued fatal accident, saying that it would be guilty of murder by gross negligence. Parties clash at Land Minister confirmation hearing. The Democratic Party, DP, and the People Power Party, PPP, members of the Parliamentary Land and Transport Committee, exchanged heated debates over the controversies surrounding Land Minister nominee Kim Yoon-deok yesterday. IMF lowers South Korea's growth outlook to 0.8%. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, revised its growth outlook for South Korea's economy to 0.8% from the previous 1% for this year, citing lingering global uncertainties. 4 dead in New York shooting, 3 dead in Nevada. 4 people were gunned down at an office building in Manhattan by a 27-year-old shooter, and 3 died in a separate shooting at a casino in Reno, Nevada. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi. Good morning.
Morning.
I hope you're doing well.
Yep. How are you?
I'm okay. We're going to jump into our text topic. So this is all about if you go to a restaurant, the food is amazing. The service, not so great. Are you going to go back?
If food is amazing, it's legitimate They have right to, but they don't have right. For me, I would have it to take away.
For
I
takeout.
can make them to like me.
Oh.
If the food is too good to be true.
You would demand good service. Oh, really? So the food is that important, the quality, yes.
Yeah. But I get them to like me, and then as long as I just chip my mouth up and then eat it and then leave as soon as possible.
I see.
Then
you will endure.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing. We're going to jump into our first story. I hear that Busan City has just passed a resolution. So what's going on?
They have just passed a resolution urging simultaneous relocation of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, related public institutions, and HMM's headquarters all to Busan.
So that is quite the list. What's the reasoning behind this?
Ultimately, this goes far beyond moving institutions. It's about shifting Korea's whole maritime strategy to boost policy impact and global competitiveness.
Yes. And so what exactly are they asking for? And when I talk about they, we're talking about the Busan City Council.
They want to restore the ministry's core powers, strengthen its role as a true policy control tower, and include maritime bodies in the next round of public institutions relocations.
I see.
And it also includes HMM, one of Korea's biggest shipping companies.
It does sound kind of like a full-on maritime migration. Are they looking at legal or institutional support too?
They are pushing for a dedicated maritime court in Busan, plus a new special law to designate city as a maritime innovation zone. And they want Busan City to back all of this with stronger admin and financial support.
I see. So what is the city council's argument for this big push?
Chair of the Maritime and Urban Council Committee, Choi Do-seok, said that boosting Korea's ocean competitiveness requires integrating maritime policy, industry, and research. And that means being on site where the action is.
I see. So what happens next?
The resolution will be sent to the Office of President, the National Assembly, Prime Minister's Office, the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, and Busan City.
Yes. So now it's up to the central government to respond. So some pretty big moves, and we'll see what happens. Let's move on and talk about the heat. Did Busan City step up for people who are really struggling with the heat?
They did. They handed out heat relief supplies to vulnerable residents. It's gone up to 150 households in Namgu district, mostly seniors living alone or low-income families. They got summer blanket, sun umbrellas, bottled water, easy-to-eat rice porridge, bellflower tea, and hand fans.
Oh, so by the way, I hear that this is not just like a governmental effort, that private companies, they were involved too?
Yeah, you got it. Private companies are chipping in as well as part of their corporate social responsibility efforts.
I see. So was there any special maybe like an event for this?
Yeah, there was a small ceremony earlier yesterday in Somak Village, Uamdong. All these supplies were provided thanks to sponsorship from participating companies and support from Namgu District Office.
Yes. So this is for, once again, the people that really need it. It's definitely a good thing. Let's move on. What's our next item?
Right. Gyeongnam Province says they've been selected 2 years in a row for a national program supporting residents affected by airport noise.
Oh, and so who is eligible this time?
17 neighborhoods close to Gimhae Airport, including Bonghwangdong, Buwondong, Taedongmyeon, and parts of Gangso and Sa district in Busan are also included.
Yes, so we need details on the kind of support.
So for residents, they will get one-day local trips. So for students, they will get a chance to visit Korea's aerospace industries and the Aerospace Museum.
Oh, that sounds like a bit of fun and maybe an escape, a reprieve from the heat. So how were they picked?
It was through a public contest hosted by Korea Airport Corporation.
Okay.
And they secured 170 million won in national funding.
I see. So thanks for reporting on this one. Let's move on and talk about something, I guess, very international, but it has to do with Busan.
Yes. Busan just made its fashion debut in Indonesia.
Oh.
And it's not just a fashion show. This is Busan's very first official cultural deal with Indonesia.
Okay.
They signed a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with Sumarekon, the organizer of Jakarta Fashion Festival.
Oh, and I hear that that's like one of Indonesia's like biggest fashion events. Is that correct?
Yes, it just wrapped up in Jakarta a couple of days ago, running from the 24th to the 27th of July. It's basically Indonesia's go-to fashion week and super popular and packed with major brands and pretty big deal.
So what does this agreement actually entail?
It aimed to foster genuine collaboration between fashion designers, brands and platforms around Busan Fashion Week.
Yes, yes.
So what's the plan? Designers from both cities will visit each other, join shows together and co-host big fashion event in Busan and Jakarta.
So will we see Busan brands in Jakarta stores? Is that the plan?
Yes, Sumarekon will invite Korea designers to set up pop-up stores and brand showcases in its commercial complexes in Jakarta.
Yes, yes. So this is definitely a good thing to see Busan brands branching out, and this time it's in Jakarta. So thank you so much for all the local news, and we'll be sure to check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sajin.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
All right, I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning. Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic report. First up, there is some congestion on the Dongso overpass from Bumnukro ramp to the old Kegum tollgate. Also on Luno Samsungdaero, there is traffic building from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge. And also slow on Nakdong Namno from Gangso Police Station to Seongsan three-way intersection. And by the way, today is Jungpok, the middle of the so-called dog days of summer. As such, it's going to be a hot one across the country. Right now, it's 27 degrees Celsius here in Busan. It is sunny. It's already hot. It's going to go up to 34 today. A heat wave impact forecast, 폭염 영향 예보, and a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, are in effect. Across the nation, it's going to be a scorcher, going up to 38 degrees in some areas. Showers are expected in parts of Gyeonggi and Gangwon today. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for top stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's time for a text topic first, though. What's your take? Do you go for the food? Do you stay for the service? Or is it a no?
I mean, there's a very fine line, and this is me like justifying the fact that I'll be a pushover and go back if the food's really good. There's a fine line between like being rude and annoyed of like, should you own a business versus just brusque, like you're not going out of your way to be nice. Maybe that's just your personality. So there was a place in Gangwon and we went, and it's like one of the most popular places, like thousands of reviews, and we go and the owner's like, it's very brusque. He's like, sit over there. I'm like, okay. It was like, 저 앉으세요. And I'm like, 네. And then we sit down and we're a little disgruntled. We're like, what, like, okay, the food better be good, right?
Okay.
And then we take the first bite, and we're like, 바쁠 수 있지. Like, I mean, if he's busy, you can't force.
It's justifiable.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
So it really does depend on the quality of the food.
It was pretty good, yeah.
All right, thanks for sharing. For our first story, we're going to go to the Korea-U.S. trade talks. What's
All
going
right.
on?
So first off, we are getting breaking news right now.
Yes.
According to 연합뉴스, to top trade negotiators, so we have Finance Minister Gu Yun-chul, who arrived in the U.S., along with Trade Minister Kim Jong-kwan and top trade negotiator Yeo Hang-gu, who have been in the U.S. They just wrapped up trade talks with the American Commerce Secretary Howard Slutnick. That started on local time. That was the 29th from 3 p.m. for 2 hours. We don't know what took place, but that is what happened.
Yes.
Again, going back to Finance Minister Koo, he has arrived in the U.S. He is due to sit down with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on the 31st local time. So that's just a day before the trade deadline is due.
Right.
So Koo told reporters that he believes that the ongoing talks between the trade minister, trade negotiator, with Secretary Lutnick and the U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, they have been going well in that South Korea has been explaining how cooperation with Seoul would bring U.S. profits.
Yes. But Secretary Lutnick reportedly is pushing for more?
Right. So according to reports, I'm citing the Wall Street Journal, he told South Korean officials that when they came to Scotland to continue talks with him, to, quote, bring it all when they make their final pitch to U.S. President Donald Trump. So you could see this as advice or a very loaded comment to bring their best and final offer to the table. He also told officials that Trump still needed to be convinced of why a new agreement should be reached with South Korea when the U.S. already has deals with a series of major trading partners like the European Union and Japan. So South Korean outlets have analyzed that this is basically him hinting or going so far as saying that what South Korea has brought so far may not be enough.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to continue to follow this. This is like the top story. But speaking of which, U.S. officials have wrapped up 2 days of talks with China.
Right. So the so-called Stockholm talks between Scott Bessent, Jameson Greer, and their Chinese counterparts wrapped up. No major breakthroughs were reached. They did come close to extending the tariff implementation by 90 days. Again, but no final signature was signed anywhere.
Yes.
Because Bessent said that the talks will continue because there are still technicalities to hammer out. However, this is an important message for South Korea as well, that President Trump will be the final decision maker.
Yes, indeed. And by the way, that deadline, I mean, we've been talking about it August 1st. It is looming. So let's kind of take a step back and look at what the best and worst case scenarios may be.
Right. So the goal in theory that the 이재명 administration has been pushing on is to get the tariffs exempted, waived, 관세면제 on the 25 reciprocal tariffs. And there's also the 25 automobile tariff and 50% tariff on steel and aluminum.
Yes.
Realistically, we haven't seen that with any of the other trading partners. So experts are saying that's clearly not going to happen. So let's look at the more reasonable, realistic best case scenario, 15. That's the magic number we've been reporting on.
Right.
Because that's what they struck with Japan and the European Union. So we're talking about 15%, not only the reciprocal tariffs, 상호관세, but also on the automobile tariffs. Because this is all relative. I mean, you talked about how this may affect Busan's auto and auto parts industry.
Right.
15% still not desirable. It's not zero. But as long as we get the same tariff rate as Japan and the EU, which has a similar export structure to the US as South Korea does, then the playing field is even.
Yes.
Let's just say all the consumers get dumped with the burden of the tariffs, then if everyone else's prices go up by 15% as well as ours, then it's kind of an equal market at least. So it's not great, but it's doable.
Sure.
And that's the key. For the aluminum tariff, although the rate has stayed the same for the European Union, it did implement a quota system that waives the tariff until up to a certain point. By the way, this is the system that South Korea was under during Trump 1.0, so that is what we're gunning for.
Yes, and now we got to look at the flip side, the worst case scenario.
Right, 25%, having it stay at 25% would be the worst case scenario because, again, if we're at 25%, Japan and EU, 50%. 15%, then this really puts especially Korean cars. Because if you think about it, South Korea's major export is the auto sector. Japan, of course, has very well-known brands, European brands as well, if you think of German car makers.
Right.
So then that puts Korean cars at a really disadvantageous advantage from the U.S. consumers. Another determining factor would be how much we're giving. Because again, what is it? The best deal, the best and the final deal forward, especially in the agricultural, digital, and automobile sector, the three pressure points that the U.S. has really been pushing on the past couple of weeks.
Right.
Other points will be how much South Korea will be asked to pitch in or invest into major U.S. Projects like the Alaska liquefied natural gas pipelines and other American industries.
Indeed. So that's where we are on the trade talks. Well, now we're going to go domestic. We're going to dive into the special counsel's investigation. The special counsel investigating former First Lady Kim Gun-hee summoned former President Yoon Suk-yeol yesterday. So how did that go?
Right. So former President Yoon Suk-yeol failed to show at the special counsel summons for yesterday. That was scheduled at 10 o'clock in the morning. The Minjung-gi special counsel last week named him a suspect in the violation of election law case and summoned him. So the request apparently contains charges related to suspicions of this power broker Myung Tae-gyun's election nomination meddling. Allegations involve that the former president allegedly received free polling results from political broker Myung, and in return allegedly helped former People Power Party or PPP lawmaker Kim Young-sun get the party's nomination.
Right.
So the authorities have this voice recording that was released between Yoon and Myung, where Yoon says he's told the party to give the nomination to Kim Young-sun as she's worked hard. However, there's, quote, a lot of talk, so that he will speak to then head of the nomination committee. He called him very in a friendly manner Sang-yeon, referring to lawmaker Yoon Sang-yeon, who's already been called in for questioning. So apparently, a representative Yoon Sang-yeon appeared in front of the special counsel earlier this week and reportedly in that process testified that he did speak to former President Yoon Suk-yeol on the matter.
I see. Speaking of the former president, though, he's been silent for the past couple of weeks.
Right. So including failing to show up to his ongoing trials, not just the special prosecution summons.
Yes.
So the detained former president yesterday, he also hadn't submitted any opinions to the special counsel, including his attorney's list. So the special counsel has sent another request for summons to the chief of Seoul Detention Center, where he has been since earlier this month. So they might try to bring him in by force, but that I use in air quotes because they won't actually physically apprehend him.
Yes, yes. All right. Let's move on to our next story. We've talked about this whole topic, secondary victimization or secondary damages. It's a real thing. So the authorities are going to be cracking down on this.
Right, on a very systematic level. So the National Police Agency, they formed a dedicated investigation team for secondary damages. We call that 2차 가해. So this refers to insults or defamation that's targeted at victims or families of these large-scale social disasters or other criminal cases.
Yes.
I mean, that can include things like, what were you wearing? That could be one of them. So these are serious breaches of human rights, but so far, there's been an institutional lack of response and kind of overall social apathy, even some people unwittingly participating in it. So this particular team at the police, it's comprised of 19 officials, and this is a result of President Lee Jae-myung ordering for this team to be formed earlier this month. So until now, what's been happening is when there are serious social damages, social disasters, the police formed special temporary teams to respond to these secondary damages. But it's been criticized that because they do operate on a more temporary nature, it's not enough to follow through on the investigations or make any changes in the law or the system. So therefore, one of the goals of the team, longer-term goal, is to seek to provide a more sustained, systematic response.
I see. And so let's talk about the kind of actions that might be considered secondary victimization, because we don't want to be guilty of that. We need to know.
Again, one of the goals is to increase social awareness. So police are looking into, again, defamation and insult, 명예훼손이나 모욕, but other things like threats or blackmail, assault or fraud. So what real-life cases might that be? So comments that distort the victim's personal information or private life, kind of carrying on rumors that you heard. Oh, well, I heard he or she did so-and-so. Comments like, they deserved it, which unfortunately I've seen them.
Yes.
We've reported on them. They're all subject to punishment. Of course, there's free speech, but only up to a certain point, not that you are harming another person. This also impersonating the victim, so pretending to be the victim or the victim's family. Why? Money. So that would be fraud to kind of have a fundraising case under the victim's name or the family's name. But unfortunately, there have been cases where the money just kind of disappears. Under the pretense of helping the families would also count as not only fraud, but secondary victimization.
Okay.
Another point of watch, though, is to see whether there will be harsher or stronger punishment. So according to data from the Supreme Court's database, there were 44 defendants, so people who were found guilty of secondary victimization or secondary damages from the Seoul Ferry tragedy and the Itaewon crowd crush, these disasters. Only 2 were sentenced to prison. Other cases, 33 were sentenced to fines of between 1.5 million and 3 million won.
Yes.
So the police said from now on they will have a zero-tolerance response to such cases and called for a change in larger social perception to recognize that these comments not only hurtful and damaging, but also can be criminal.
Yes, indeed. So thank you for reporting on that story. For a final one, we're going to talk about U.S. President Trump, but in a different regard. He's been exerting a lot of pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Right. So President Trump has previously told Russian President Vladimir Putin that he needs to make a peace deal with Ukraine. And he threatened not only new sanctions, but that's as important, secondary sanctions, which would sanction countries that deal with Russia. Russia really depends on its natural gas and other natural resources exports. So to have countries that buy from them face sanctions, that really cuts off the supply, as well as the systems that allow them, like financial systems and technological aspects. Any case, that deadline, according to Trump, has been pushed up or will be pushed up by 10 or 12 days, he says. This comment came on Monday local time from Scotland, so that's already been ticking.
Yes.
Because President Trump said there's no reason in waiting as there has been no progress made. So Russian and Ukrainian diplomats have been meeting last week in Istanbul, but President Putin failed to show up to the meetings despite Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky doing so. And there hasn't really been much comment coming from the Kremlin. So Ukraine proposed a summit by the end of August between the two countries, but Russia's response was that such summit would only be appropriate if it were to sign an agreement. So it's been very vague on that front. But this is major because it's definitely a turnaround from President Trump's previous comments and previous position where he almost seemed to blame Ukraine for the war, or at least he wasn't shy about criticizing Zelensky very publicly in some aspects too.
Yes. So this sounds like good news for Ukraine.
Absolutely. So President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday said that Trump showed a clear stance and expressed determination. He also thanked President Trump for his focus on, quote, saving lives and stopping this horrible war. Because, again, it all goes back to money. Zelensky said Russia really pays attention to sanctions and pays attention to those economic losses.
Yes. Well, we're going to call it a wrap for the first hour with you. And, of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And it's time for our first song break. So here it is. This is Miss Right by BTS.
Yo, girl. I wanna tell you this. That you're my Miss Right. You're my Miss Right, Miss Right. 널 놓친다면 Miss Right, Miss Right. You're my Miss Right, Miss Right. Girl, you want my kiss right, Miss Right. 너의 sexy mind and your sexy body 뇌주름 하나까지 섹시하게 태어난 여자 그대 청반 바지와 흰 티에 컨버스 하나 that makes me wanna party on your body 찰랑이는 긴 머리끝 싱그러운 골반이 지저귀는 한편의 숲 같은 너 두 속에서 반짝여 그 비현실적인 몸으로 내 현실을 안아줘 And I want you to be really really real for me 때론 나의 어머니 때때론 나의 에너지 난 솔직해 겉으로도 너무 nice해서 긴장을 놓칠 수 없는 나의 enemy 밖에 많은 정상형들과 달라서 너 같은 여자를 이상형이라 하나 봐 그래 너 생각하면 맘이 자꾸 시려와 내 겨울바다 널 걷고 싶다 너는 내게 최고 너의 하루를 알고 싶어 너의 한숨이 되고 싶어 너는 내게 최고 사람 바로 너야 어쩜 사람이 그래 세상을 혼자 사는 듯한 착각이 드네 내 곁을 지나는 그대 내 맘에는 너라는 달콤한 바람이 부네 딱히 꾸미지 않아도 매력이란 향수를 뿌리겠지 아마도 신은 없다고 믿었었던 나마저도 신을 믿게 만들어 나에게 여신은 바로 너 네가 어리던 말던 나이가 많던 숨긴 나이가 있던 나는 상관없어 내가 널 사랑하거든 너와 함께라면 어디든 꽃이 핀 garden 명품백을 주기보단 내 손을 잡아주는 질투심과 시기보단 댐댐이를 알아주는 그런 너와 함께 우리의 미래 그려봐 우리 커플 신발 사이에 어린이 운동화 너는 내게 최고 너의 하루를 알고 싶어 너의 한숨이 되고 싶어 Only girl 너는 내게 최고 영화 속에서 나 있을 것만 같던 그 사람 바로 너야 따가운 것 같아 내 맘을 흔든 주인공이 앞에 나 끌리는 것 같아 자석처럼 지금 바로 너한테 너의 삶 너의 맘 너의 페이스도 너의 라인 마치 퍼즐 조각 마냥 내 이상형을 맞춘 사람 너란 날씨에 끌리는 바람 꽃나는 걸 항상 너 향해 난 가는 girl
Yo, I told you many qualifications about my Miss Right But why you're my Miss Right is you are just you
You're my only girl 너는 내게 최고 너의 하루를 알고 싶어 너의 한숨이 되고 싶어 Only girl 너는 내게 최고 영화 속에서 나 있을 것만 같던 그 사람 날씨마저 딱 좋은데 너와 딱인 듯해 난 같이 걸어볼까 함께 걸어볼까 날씨마저 딱 좋은데 너와 딱인 듯해 넌 소설 속에서 나 있을 것만 같던 그 사람 바로 너야
Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about some of your responses to today's text topic. We're talking about good food. The food is so delicious. It's amazing at this place, but the service, not so great. Maybe they're a little rude. So would you go back is the question. So first up, we have SY name on our Kakao Talk saying, I prefer a kind person, but I usually don't care about kindness in a restaurant. If someone is not kind, I think that, oh, she or he must be in a bad mood or something bad must have happened. So SY name says, I can understand. That's very generous of you. I thoroughly agree, though. Sometimes, someone's just having a really bad day. Whether it is, for example, the owner of the restaurant or the manager, or maybe just a server. Everybody has off days. So I was reading Leslie's comment, and she said this. So Leslie shared that, to her, food is important, but that she will, if I go somewhere that has good food but poor service, if it's the first time going there, I'll go back a second time to give it a second chance. If the service is still bad after the second time, I generally won't go back. So basically, you're going to give that restaurant the benefit of the doubt because it could just be that one person that's dealing with you, whether it's the cashier or the server or whomever it was. So I can see why you would at least give, the place a second chance. And then we have, on the other hand, 고수님, 저는 안 갑니다. 그냥 기분이 안 좋을 것 같아요. So I see all the points that are being made. And I'll read more of your messages in just a little bit. But for now, we're going to get to Now and Next with Lian. It's time for Now and Next. Leon's here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yay. So you heard our text topic.
Yes.
I know you have thoughts. So what do you think?
So my thing is, usually the restaurants that are very unfriendly and kind of the workers are mean are 가성비가 좋은 식당인 것 같아요. In my experience.
In your experience, okay.
It's really cheap, but it's like so good. And so it's like always packed with customer or 손님.
Yes.
So I kind of think if they're very unfriendly, to me, I just kind of think, 너무 바빠가지고 힘든가 보다. Or if they're so crossing the line, then I don't get angry at the workers, but more like the owner, because they're like maybe overworking their employees. Because why are they being so mean? Maybe they're working overtime. So I kind of think in their shoes, I try to.
Right.
Because usually the restaurants that I go to are super packed, super busy. And I don't expect them to be super nice to me anyway, because I'm going there for the cheap, good food.
Yeah, 가성비, right?
Yeah.
No,
so
I get it.
I don't go for the good service.
I went recently to like our favorite like 돼지국밥 place that our family likes to go, and they're very famous. I won't say the name, right? And when she was setting down the 반찬 plates and stuff like that,
was she throwing it at the table?
It was kind of like you could hear like the sound,
yes,
and then we just kind of looked at her. We're like, did we do something wrong? But it was because she was in a hurry.
Yes.
Because she had to get to the next table.
Right.
So I told everybody at the table, I was like, she's not being rude. She's in a hurry. She's the only one in the hall, like serving.
Yes, that's
right?
when it's like I get frustrated too, because of course, who could be nice in that if you're in their shoes, right?
Right, and to like so it's like just even setting it down.
Can I have some extra 반찬?
진짜 소심해지고 반찬.
I actually go to the kitchen at that time. Right?
I take the little dish
and I just like, is it self-service? Even though it's obviously not self.
Exactly.
I ask them like, is it self-service?
I pretend, to be a little stupid sometimes. Like,
yes.
I know. 여기서 받으면 돼요. And then they usually go, we'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah. I fully understand.
That is my experience.
Yes. We're going to jump into now and next. So,
that was a little vibrato hearing from her voice.
It sounded like a purring cat. Sorry. I fully apologize.
It's okay.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Yes, so today, here's something you might not expect to be trending. Because we are talking about now and next what's trending these days. It's actually 잡곡밥. But not just 잡곡밥, multi-grain rice, but it's the instant multi-grain rice that everyone's buying these days.
Oh, really?
Do you buy instant rice in general?
Can I be honest with you? Since I've been in Korea, and it's been a long time now, I have never bought instant rice for my house, ever.
Wow.
Only when we go like camping or like, you go to a pension and like you're
really never at home? Is it because you don't believe in the ingredients in it? Like you just feel like this can't be good for you? Or
I just,
Oh, I see. And you just home cooked rice.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll freeze it.
Yeah.
And then
of course,
defrost or heat it up.
So
right?
you're such a diligent person, because I always have to have a batch of 톺아보기.
Oh, really?
Right, white rice.
Of the
instant
rice.
At home.
At home.
Because I always be like, 엄마 또 까먹었어. And then I just pop it out and then put it
For me, I always
have
a pot of
rice. Because I'm a mom, I shouldn't be.
The guilt, the mom
Why
guilt.
I'm not like a MZ full-time worker. I feel like I should be
like you're repeating.
Yeah, I should.
She's saying
yeah, exactly.
10, right?
So I feel bad, but I'm guilty of it. But anyways,
yes.
The numbers show, according to the NH 농협's consumer data, the share of multi-grain rice in Korea's instant rice market jumped from over about 15% in 2023 to over 20% this year.
Oh, really?
So this is a popularity among Gen Z and millennials. The shift has shown even sharper. And also for instant white rice, their sales also grew about 9%. But this compares to multi-grain options, which surged over 22%.
So does it mean is it because the MZ consumers they're really loving this healthy choice 이왕 즉석밥 먹는 거 let's be a healthier 건강하게
yeah
먹자.
I
Is
think
that kind
so.
of what
I think
is?
that's kind of how we've been talking about the wellness trend
yes.
We're very conscious of our well-being, kind of in line with that. So there are a couple of reasons. First, the multigrain is obviously a better choice in terms of nutrition, more fiber, lower glycemic index, and
glycemic
and there's more nutrients like vitamin B, and supports digestion and whatnot.
It's good for you.
And they're
better.
right. It's better for you. And also I think we all know at this point now how much white rice spikes your blood sugar levels. It's always on the media. Second, of course, the convenient aspect of it all. Our producer, who's a true MZ.
She's just a Z. She draws the line.
She's just a Z.
주로 항상 걷더라고요.
She's the Z of the MZ.
Yes.
They're always busy, They're always busy, so they don't have time to, the 불려, you have to like soak in the 잡곡 for, how it works, right? For a couple of hours. So just 90 seconds in the microwave, so it's convenient. And I'm so surprised every time I go to the mart because I can really say this is a trending trend these days because it used to be just like white instant rice and then like 잡곡 multigrain, but now there's so many different kinds. Have you seen?
Yeah.
There's like 조밥. There's like the yellow. And then there's like just like 흥미밥, 잡곡밥, so many different kinds. So I'm just like,
피디님 뭐 제일
just 흥미밥. 잡곡밥. Oh, just those two. Yeah. So they're coming out with all these different kinds. I'm guessing because a lot of people are really buying it.
Yes, apparently.
Yes.
And I do want to know now because now I'm curious because like I stay away from the instant rice.
Right.
So are they as healthy as home cooked rice? Have I been like working and slaving away making rice every day for no reason?
No purpose.
Yes.
It is an important question that I actually was curious about too.
Yes.
So it obviously it's not as healthy as home cooked multigrain rice. Because the instant multigrain rice, it goes through this pre-cooking and dehydration process. It means like nutrients like vitamin B gets lost in the process, and to preserve shelf life. Some of the brands add things like rice bran extract, acidity regulators, or even texture enhancers.
Yes.
Which are all some chemical things. It's probably not good for us. Also, most multigrain packs are still 70 to 80% white rice with a very small percentage of grain. So while it's better than plain white rice, it's not the same as steaming brown rice. 현미밥 at home.
I love
right?
현미밥.
I love 현미 too, but that's a lot of work that goes into eating 현미, right? That said, most experts agree though, eating it once a day is perfectly safe. It's not bad for you.
Okay.
So maybe not 아침, 점심, 저녁을 그걸로 다 해결하는 건 좀 그렇고 just once a day is a good substitute. Right. But here's some useful tips for when you're choosing your instant rice.
Okay.
Some packs, they have added salt in it. So you should check the sodium level, which I never did before.
I've never even thought about it.
I just sometimes if I open certain brands, it's just like very tasty. I didn't think too much. Maybe 나 너무 배고파서 마신다 보다. 근데 I think there's a little bit of sodium in it now that I think about it.
Right,
so
that makes sense.
If you've already bought them and if you're checking the label now, try to go with low sodium sides like 반찬, and
I guess that's why I said I've tried the instant rice only when we go like camping or we're away on a trip, and then 근데 가면 다 맛있잖아요.
다 맛있죠.
And then I would be eating that. I'm like, why is the rice so good? But there's a reason now.
Exactly. And then I know our producer says she eats 흥미밥. 근데 흥미도 저는 사봤는데.
Is 흥미 the one that makes your rice purple?
Yes.
Okay. We call it purple rice in our house.
It is purple.
Okay.
Like my hands.
Something
something happened with a pen right now. Anyway, that's
okay.
흥미 그 함량을 꼭 봐야 될 것 같아요. Because sometimes I bought one and it was just literally 5톨이 약간 흥미고 100번이었던 것 같아요. 그래서 내가 I paid extra for this 5톨 of 흥미. I don't know.
5 grains of
because they do make your purple even though with a little amount.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could dupe you. I'm saying dupe because we're going to talk about duping culture.
Oh, we are. Okay. So
nice
in a
segue.
nutshell, it's more of shortcut, not like a 24/7 substitute. Maybe you said once a day it's okay.
Once a day it's okay, and still make sure to check the label, even though all those names of 잡곡 and all that can make you feel like this is the healthiest substitute ever.
I saw an interesting post right now from Blythe Vibe who says it's 중복 today, which we know it's like the second day of the dog days of summer. No one's having instant 삼계탕. I've never tried that instant 삼계탕. Is it good?
I've never tried instant
No, because I see people at the mart because 사가는 걸 보는데, and then I also wonder, if you're a full-time 주부, do you pretend you made it?
Oh no, I can't.
Do you pretend or do you fess up and say, hey, this is from...
What if there's meat in it? I don't think I can use
that as and say you pass it off.
I think I don't want to say the worst because I'm a full-time 주부 too. I can say worst. Is 그 설렁탕은 인스턴트 한번 먹인 적 있는데 아이들한테 삼계탕까지는
좀 그래.
그 치킨은 조금.
That's the line.
I feel too guilty.
All right.
I have to use 대추 and everything for 삼계탕.
Okay. Well, you said we're going to talk about dupe.
Yes. We did talk about it, I think, last year sometime, how it is a thing. But it still is. I mean, it's becoming a bigger of a trend these days.
Yes.
Basically, it's talking about how all the Gen Z, they're closing their wallets for big name brands like Louis Vuitton or, all those Shateng, all those major brands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lately, consumers are walking away.
Really?
The LVMH, the world's largest luxury group, they reported actually a 22% drop in profits this year.
That's huge.
Yes, and the Korea's favorite winter jacket brand, the Monteng. Yeah, they also are seeing a decrease in their profits as well. And so basically, post-pandemic, after years of skyrocketing prices, many young consumers are saying this is not worth it. So they're just choosing high-quality alternatives, also better known as dupes, that offer the same vibe without the crazy price tag.
Yes.
And it's also a lot of these there's the SNS tikdeng. They are calling it the dupe tok. So a lot of people are posting these shorts of basically, can you guess which one's the real the pricier one,
right?
Like this is the original pricey, like the Shateng jacket, and then this is the dupe one, and then everyone's just following the links to buy the more consumer friendly price,
right? Because I've
items.
seen the Lulu
thing,
the citrus fruit, that brand, and they're kind of expensive. Some of their items.
Expensive.
Right.
They are expensive.
And then I see other brands that maybe emulate. I certainly, by the way, we totally believe in intellectual property that should be protected.
Of course.
But you see similar items of a similar style.
Yes.
And then I don't know the quality, to be honest. But then the price is a third of
exactly
that brand.
Right. So it's really worth looking into all those different brands that are coming out with similar styles, but that are more friendly to our wallet. So basically, we talked about the matcha craze last week or the week before, and so I feel like the theme is always kind of continuing. We're choosing something more healthy over what's comparatively not, like matcha over coffee.
Yes.
Multigrain rice over white rice.
Sure.
And now we're becoming more, I guess, smart with our spending a little bit more. So dupes over, the shateng or the titeng.
Maybe.
So.
I'm sure some people, they stick to their favorite brands. But for other people, and it might be irregardless, but I do see a lot of, I guess, Gen Z people in that kind of, age group.
Exactly.
Kind of leading this drive, right?
Exactly.
Away from all the huge brand names.
Right. I think practicality is a huge thing these days.
So today is 중복.
중복.
Yes. Do you have any plans on feeding your family something nutritious?
So I don't know. I feel stupid saying, but 초복에 삼계탕을 먹잖아요.
What are we supposed to have?
중복도 삼계탕인가요?
All of us
I thought
probably.
그렇군요. 근데 저는 안 먹습니다. I don't like standing in front of the stove when it's so hot.
So hot.
Just something
Lunch
easy.
is the worst. Lunchtime is the worst.
Isn't it don't you hate cooking during the summer months? I don't know. For me, it's just I hate cooking these days. 입맛도 없고 요리도 하기 싫고.
근데 점심이 최악이에요. Because that's the hottest time.
Exactly.
For dinner, I'm okay with dinner because it's by then the sun is, set. It's cooler in the house.
Yeah.
But standing in front of that I almost said the other one. The darn stove.
It's
so bad. I feel like it's bad for my health.
Yes.
With all the, the gas, it's on. And I'm so irritable. And even though the AC's on, it's just
I know. It's just, I don't want to be.
기분 좋게 음식을 해야지,
그냥 나가서 사 먹든지 배달하고 싶기도 하고. Yesterday I had 삼겹살 at night for my kids, but then I had to have 냉장 그 차가운 비빔면 on the side. I was like, I need something cold
to go with it.
Yeah. So
and then our producer, apparently, are you offering to buy us 장어? 아니면 장어 먹으라고요? You're going to have 장어. Okay. 혼자서 맛있는 거 드시네. 몸보신한다고. 난 다 주고 갔는데 우리 PD님. Okay. Well, it's okay. We need at least our producer to be really healthy, so it's okay. I love you anyway. But we'll definitely check in with you next week. So thank you, Lian.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. So looking at some of your responses to the whole rice debate, it seems that many people do make their rice, and like Haley says, they portion and then they freeze their rice. Also, Drake Lee saying meal kits are very convenient. These days, it's kind of amazing. It boggles my mind to see all the different variety of meal kits. So convenient. We're going to get to our final song for our number one, and it's this one. It is 비행기 by 거북이. So enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
Yes, Twiggles, the fourth album. No mind, no song.
한국전쟁 당시
좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
일상에서 문화를 만끽하는 15분 문화도시 부산. 글로벌 문화예술이 펼쳐지는 해양도시 부산. 다양한 문화예술, 공연과 축제가 펼쳐지는 부산에서 시민과 예술이 함께하는 특별한 동행이 시작됩니다.
부산문화재단 대표이사 오재환입니다. 다시 태어나도 살고 싶은 행복한 문화도시 부산을 위해 오늘 하루 문화예술의 멋진 항해사가 되어 보시길 바랍니다.
이 캠페인은 글로벌 문화도시 부산을 창조하는 비컬처 플랫폼 부산문화재단이 함께합니다.
It's time for the Water Activities Safety Quiz Show with me, Mike.
And me, Jessie.
Now here is the question. On safely enjoying water activities, listen carefully and guess the right answer.
Okay.
From the following water safety measures, guess which one is correct. Number 1, always warm up before swimming or going in the water. Number 2, enter the water slowly and wear a life jacket. Number 3, never go beyond the designated swimming area. Number 4, call 119 or a lifeguard on duty if you witness drowning.
뭐지? 1번도 맞고 2번도 맞는 것 같은데.
Time is running out.
The answer is all of the above.
That is correct. All of these options are important in order to safely enjoy water activities.
If you keep them in mind, you're bound to have a great and safe summer.
Stay with BEFM this summer for a responsible beach season.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan. This is Spotlight News. Samsung Electronics Lee Jae-yong heads to U.S. Samsung Electronics chairperson Lee Jae-yong has departed for Washington, D.C. for global business cooperation, where he is widely expected to play a role in the ongoing trade talks with the U.S. Sources from the industry say there is a possibility that Seoul may propose technological cooperation and investment in the semiconductor industry or sector. In the meantime, the presidential office said that working-level talks are continuing between officials of the two countries and that the top office will prioritize national interests and try its best to strike a deal within the framework of pragmatism. President condemns POSCO E&C fatal industrial accident. President Lee Jae-myung criticized the fatal industrial accident at POSCO E&C, calling out the company for continued fatal accident, saying that it would be guilty of murder by gross negligence. Yi made the comments during the first ever live broadcast of the cabinet meeting, where he said that the cost of what a corporation has to pay for an accident should be greater than what they can save by making cuts on safety. Earlier in the day, a worker in his 60s died at an expressway construction site. CEO Chung Hee-min issued an apology and accepted responsibility for the 5th fatal industrial accident this year. Parties clash at land minister confirmation hearing. The Democratic Party, or DP, and the People Power Party, PPP, members of the Parliamentary Land and Transport Committee exchanged heated debates over the controversies surrounding a land minister nominee Kim Yoon-duk yesterday. The PPP attacked Kim's financial records, accusing him of not properly reporting the zero-interest loan he extended to his child for their long-term rental deposit. Kim admitted that the improper reporting was his oversight. The DP protected Kim, saying that it doesn't constitute an attempt to evade inheritance tax as the amount falls under the tax-free limit. IMF lowers South Korea's growth outlook to 0.8%. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, revised its growth outlook for South Korea's economy to 0.8% from the previous 1% for this year, citing lingering global uncertainties. The IMF, however, cast a more optimistic outlook for the country's growth for 2026, raising it by 0.4 points to 1.8%. Its World Economic Outlook reports that the global growth rate at 3% overall, 0.2% higher than its previous forecast in April, in consideration of the lower tariffs as a result of various countries' negotiations with the Trump administration. Four dead in New York shooting, 3 dead in Nevada. 4 people were gunned down at an office building in Manhattan by a 27-year-old shooter, and 3 died in a separate shooting at a casino in Reno, Nevada. The police identified the New York City gunman as Shane Devin Tamura, who had a suicide note alleging that he suffered from a brain disease linked to head trauma. Investigators believe that he was headed to the National Football League, or NFL, office in the building. The police are trying to figure out a motive for the Nevada shooting. It is unclear if the gunman was a guest or an employee at the resort where the shooting took place. This was Spotlight News. It's time for Waglwagle. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Yes. Well, for our first story, let's talk about this. A lot of people are still trying to stay active despite the heat, including, and I can't believe this, I mean, you probably do it too, running, but this can be dangerous, and that is why 예지 PD님 and I don't.
맞죠? PD님 맞죠? I'm sorry, I like spat into the microphone, whereas I need the alcohol wipe to
wipe it down.
Wipe that down. Yeah,
너무 위험해요.
You're saving lives.
Okay.
Yes,
Ourselves.
yes, indeed. I commend you. Okay, so I do still see, I mean, yes, am I one of the people? Yes, but I do this in like the dark.
Okay,
when it's breezy. And I do have to say, I might get pushback for this, but summer nights have been beautiful this week. Like
yesterday was nice.
It's breezy, and I think Jinlin said it's acacias, the acacia trees. Like you get a scent in the air, and you're like, ooh, what is this? But I do see people as I'm driving in, running in the morning, and the sun's up already, and it's kind of blazing down. And even I was driving through Gwangalli, 10 a.m., and there are people running. And I'm like, sirs and ma'ams, like this is like we're getting heat wave alerts.
Yes.
So temperature is still high. This can actually hurt your health. So let's be aware of that.
Okay.
So doctors say, especially for people with pre-existing illnesses like cardiovascular, 심혈관 질환 issues, it can actually lead to worst case scenario, heart attacks or strokes. So because in the heat, your heart is already it's working hard. It's already working overtime because it needs to pump out more blood to lower the body temperature.
Sure.
So running on top of this, it is putting your heart on extra overtime, putting pressure on this vital organ, especially for those who have pre-existing issues. So if you are running out of breath, more so than usual, can actually be a sign of cardiovascular disease or issues. So if you have, on top of running out of breath, 숨참, chest pains, cold sweat, 식은땀, nausea, and dizziness, they do recommend that you go to the hospital immediately.
Okay.
Also, even for healthy individuals, meaning without pre-existing issues, 열사병, heat stroke is a real thing.
Yes.
So if you stop sweating all of a sudden and then feel nauseous, if you feel like vomiting, this could be a danger sign of heat stroke. So stop working out immediately. Go somewhere shaded, indoors and air-conditioned is better, and cool off. And if symptoms don't subside, again, visit the hospital. Even the hot ground can be bad for your feet because the air temperature may be, say, about 33 degrees Celsius, but the asphalt can be up to 50 degrees Celsius. So people have these fancy shoes, but even they cannot stop that kind of a heat. So that can actually even burn your feet or even hurt the muscles in your feet. So during these summer months, it is better to run indoors or go be a super, super early bird early in the morning or later at night. And of course, make sure to hydrate not only water, but electrolytes. So 이온음료 if possible.
Indeed. So yes, exercising is good and we made fun of it, but of course, not in this kind of daytime heat.
No.
Well, we're going to stay on the topic of the heat. For many people, parasols have become like a summer staple. I've been seeing so many of them.
So many of them. And I love it when I'm like standing in front of a crosswalk waiting to cross and I'm just like this because I can't see because of the sun. And someone like walks, like is standing next to me with a parasol and I'm like, can we be friends for the next 45 seconds?
Was it a guy?
No.
Okay.
I don't care. It was just a parasol, and I was like, I'm like sneakily trying to get into that shade.
Okay.
I'm like, can I benefit? Because it's less about fashion. And speaking of guys, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
It's more about survival. Because sometimes you just gotta. And I do want to ask our waivers. Are any of you like team parasol? 양산파? 양산 들고 다니시나요?
우리 피디님 진짜요?
Yeah. See, that's our Gen Z.
Is it like floral? 꽃무늬는 아니고.
And that again, that used to be the stigma. That's the stereotype. It's mom fashion. It is peak mom fashion. You get a perm and you go to 양산. Right? That used to be the thing.
Yes.
Floral and like lacy.
Yeah, lacy.
Gen Zs, even men are joining thanks to functionality. And you do see a ton of designs that are just plain. They're simple. I do see a lot like white or beige on the outside, black on the inside. Apparently that's scientific. So one media outlet ran its own experiment in Korea.
Yes.
When the surface... they had a reporter stand outside in the sun. I know. In the sun, because black absorbs heat, the surface temperature of the reporter's hair in the middle of the sun, over 60 degrees Celsius. And then they put a parasol over their head. Just after 5 minutes, it went down to 40 degrees Celsius.
I feel
Still
bad for the
hot.
reporter.
But I think they signed up. They voluntarily did this. I mean, obviously, it was monitored and they went inside quickly, I'm assuming. Another research by the Japanese Environment Ministry, they say that parasols can reduce your sweating by up to 20% and has a similar effect of planting trees every 10 meters.
Wow.
So shades.
That's good. Okay, maybe we need one. So speaking of Japan, one sun-blocking mechanism that was almost a joke is making a comeback.
Wearable parasols. You know, those hats, the umbrella hats that go around. 머리에 쓰는 양산.
진짜?
찐. This was first introduced back during the 2020 Tokyo Olympics for men. Because back then, like, they try to make it happen. They try to make it fetch, but it kind of didn't.
Right.
Saying that, you know, if men might feel embarrassed about, like, socially about using a parasol, then try wearing, I suppose, the more gender-neutral umbrella hat.
Okay.
So people who did use it, the volunteers at the Olympics, they actually praised it. They're like, this works. This actually does cool you off.
Okay.
However, it never really went public because people were like, well, I mean, people do think it looks silly.
Yeah.
But now it actually might be making a comeback. And I'm crediting this particular video in Japan. It's of a child wearing, you know, those like 삿갓, we call it a 삿갓 in Korean, the conical, the triangular hat. People just thought it was adorable. And then they kind of started a trend of, well, why not? It's hot. Let's put a hat on. So one brand actually, it makes and sells umbrella hats in Japan. And even at the price tag of equivalent of 72,000 won, 72,000원, it's completely sold out.
Wow.
Like, completely. They're not going to be able to restock until August. So experts say that, yes, actually protecting your head from the sun is crucial. So yeah.
I don't know, hat or parasol umbrella hat.
I mean,
don't know.
I did wear the I don't know the name in Vietnam.
Right.
Because there's air space between you and the hat, it does kind of ventilate and cool you off.
Right. All right. So let's stay healthy out there. For our next story, tip boxes and tip jars are sneaking their way into Korean culture, and people are not happy about it. I'm one of those people.
Shut that down.
Yes,
real quick. So, according to a social media post, this was from a customer who ate at a restaurant in Yeouido, noticed this red box on their way out. So it said tip box on the top and wrote, "Did you have a good meal? We always try to give you the best service and food. Thank you." So they were suggesting a tip. Response has been mostly negative. Some saying this is South Korea. Don't bring in the tip culture. It's also, they didn't like that it was so blatant. Food prices already have service charges built into them.
Yes.
There have been other cases too. Recently, apparently an eel place, 장어 in Sejong, had a sign at every single table. If you like the service, please consider giving about 5,000 won in tips per table. It's a very specific amount.
But I also need the facts because I feel like this might be kind of like gray area, at least in her mind.
Right.
So do you have any information on that?
Yeah, so I actually do have the legality on this. Under the current Food and Sanitation Act, an establishment must post the final price, which includes the value-added tax and service charges. So requiring tips is illegal.
Okay.
I know there were a couple places on the delivery app that had the tip, like it was like a required option that you had to add, and that's actually illegal. Once again, required. However, if these are tip boxes and jars and kind of a nudge suggestion, not illegal. You might not like it, but it's not illegal. But again, it is quite controversial because a lot of people in South Korea, they seem to be against tip culture making its way to South Korea.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is even controversial in countries that do have tips, namely the U.S.
Right now. Indeed.
Do you want to tip a kiosk?
No. The answer is no. All right. Let's end it on a positive note. This social worker threw herself literally in front of a person who was attempting suicide.
Right. So, I mean, of course, we do have to give you a trigger warning. We were going to be talking about attempted suicide. But the social worker, she saw two young women on Mapo Bridge with their feet on the railing, looking like they were about to jump off. So this social worker is Ms. Jung Seo-na, who happened to be passing by with a friend. She ran there. They physically dragged down the women and called 119. The two women struggled to free themselves and try to get back onto the railing, but Jung and her friend, they held on for dear life.
Oh my goodness.
Literally for about 10 minutes, which if you are struggling, 10 minutes is a long time.
It is.
And because you don't know what's going to happen. And then they were able to safely pass them on to the 119 first responders.
Right. So how was she able to act so quickly in this situation?
Right. So coincidentally, she is not only a social worker, but a social worker who works at the Crisis and Suicide Prevention Center at Hanyang University Hospital. So the perfect person at the perfect time. And she is in charge of checking in with and helping high-risk individuals who may reattempt suicide. So this particular center is Seoul City's only 24/7 emergency response center for such cases. It monitors and checks in with on average 500 people per year after they've attempted suicide. So they offer services like suicide prevention, psychological, psychiatric care, and even helps with treatment fees because economic pressure is another stress factor. So Jung said her instincts just kicked in and she acted quickly. And it also made her realize that how important her job is in protecting lives and said that she really, truly wants to help people turn their lives into something hopeful.
Great story to end it on. The fact that, she went out of her way. But thank you for all the stories. And of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
I do want to respond to the whole tipping issue because Tommy says I do sometimes tip at a restaurant when the workers make me feel good. Leslie's saying, tipping is a hot button topic in the U.S. Everyone is tired of tipping. And even personally, like if we go to a place where, it's like a course meal and the server has to they come back over and over again. Yeah, I do tend to tip, but it's the whole idea of like mandatory tip if there's a huge nudge with that jar or not. So anyhow, thanks for your comments. Here is your updated traffic and weather. Here's a look at the roads right now. There's a two-car collision on Ulsukdo Bridge toward Changpyeong Underpass, right past the bridge. And speaking of bridges, Gwangan Bridge, top portion, congested again. There is traffic on Chungjangdaero from pier number 5 to pier number 3. And Byeongyonglo is looking slow from the Wondong Tunnel to Suyeong Tunnel. Currently, it is 28 degrees Celsius. It is hot. It is sunny in Busan. The daytime high is going to go up to 34. And as a reminder, just in case you count those days, today is Jungbok, the middle of the so-called dog days of summer. A heat wave impact forecast, 폭염 영향 예보, and a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, are in effect. In other parts of the country, some areas are going to see 38 degrees and the real field temperatures might be even hotter with the humidity. Showers in parts of Gyeonggi and Gangwon today. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for a special interview. Humans' curiosity and fascination with space have fueled decades of exploration, research, and innovation. And that journey is far from over. It continues. From Neil Armstrong's historic first steps on the moon during NASA's Apollo mission to today's renewed lunar ambitions. The drive to explore beyond Earth continues to grow. In South Korea, the newly established Korea Aerospace Administration, KASA, has unveiled an ambitious plan to establish a lunar base by the year 2045. Joining us today to speak on all of these issues is Dr. Joshua Colwell, Interim Dean, College of Sciences at the University of Central Florida. He's joining us right now. Hi, welcome to the program.
Thank you. 만나서 반갑습니다.
Wow, your Korean is on point.
I'm working on it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, just curious. How long have you been studying Korean? Is it okay to
about
ask?
3 months now.
Oh, 3 months. Oh,
yeah.
But learning a language. I know this is so off topic, but I love when our experts speak Korean. So thank you for that greeting. To begin with, Professor, what does it actually mean to build a base on the moon in today's context?
Well, there's a lot of renewed interest in the moon, as you've stated. I mean, it's over 50 years now since the Apollo missions ended, and humans were exploring the surface of the moon. And of course, those early missions were motivated by geopolitical concerns. And now the space economy has really evolved in a lot of ways. Access to Earth orbit is much more common, much more economical, and we rely on Earth orbiting satellites a lot for communications, for understanding the weather, understanding the Earth's climate. And so space is a much bigger part of our lives, even though it may not be obvious to everyday life. We don't think about it. We sort of take it for granted. And the moon is a really special, precious resource. We're very fortunate to have this object that's nearby, it's accessible, and it has a lot of resources that can be mined and utilized to help expand our space economy.
Yes, indeed. And so in terms of South Korea's space agency, the Korea Aerospace Administration, in Korea they call it KASA, I'll call it KASA, recently announced its plan to build a lunar base by the year 2045. So from your perspective, why might a country such as South Korea pursue such an ambitious goal?
Well, there are many reasons. People sometimes talk about the sort of incidental benefits of having a space exploration program. And by that, I mean the process of learning how to do something as challenging technologically and from an engineering standpoint and scientifically as building a base on the moon that can extract minerals or other valuable elements from the lunar material, you will improve your technological capabilities that will circulate throughout your society, that will have lots of sort of add-on benefits. If you want to have a spacefaring economy and a spacefaring society, the moon is the place to start. It's really a shame that we stopped our lunar exploration 50 years ago, because the moon is a great place to get hydrogen and oxygen, which of course are the components of water, but hydrogen is also rocket fuel. And you can combust it, burn it with oxygen, and it is much easier to launch off the surface of the moon than it is off the surface of the Earth. And you don't have to take all of your fuel from the Earth up into space if you can get it locally on the surface of the moon. So there's a lot of interest in what's called basically living off the land.
Yes.
The moon is barren and harsh, but it's got a tremendous amount of resources.
And so I'm also curious though, Professor, because obviously there was this huge space race, last century, and then there was kind of this, I guess, I don't know, it just kind of waned off. Is there a particular reason why? Is it the cost of space exploration? And then now this renewed interest. So I'm trying to kind of wrap my mind around this. Do you know why? Like the interest kind of dipped and then now it's back?
I think it dipped because a tremendous amount of money was spent in a very short period of time. And the political will disappeared. And so coming to CASA's plans for their 20-year plan to have an economic base on the surface of the moon, I think that's a realistic plan. That's a realistic time frame. You've got a lunar orbiter in place now, plans for a lunar lander in 2032. And what it is going to require is a sustained political and financial commitment. And a key element to making that work, in my opinion, is strong international partnerships that helps spread the cost. It helps bring in experience and technological expertise that can make these missions more likely to succeed, because it is challenging. It is hard. Even today, after we've been exploring the moon for decades, we see accidents, landers failing to make the appropriate touchdown and tipping over. It's challenging.
Yes. CASA is a relatively new agency, having been established in May 2024. So when we have a relatively kind of new, new member to the party of, trying to get to the moon and establish a base there, what factors do you think determine whether this type of plan can succeed? So maybe not necessarily for South Korea, but for any country.
Well, it will be that sustained political will initially. So as you said, this space agency is a little over a year old. There's going to be changes in South Korea's leadership at the national level over the course of the next 20 years.
Yes.
NASA has been successful in the United States in having a sustained exploration program throughout the solar system, because it's been largely disconnected from political changes. And so that's going to be a key element.
Yes.
It costs money, but it's a tiny fraction of a country's overall budget is sufficient to maintain a sustainable space program. As far as you asked earlier, and I didn't really answer, why is there this renewed interest in the moon? Now we can go to space much more easily than we could in the 70s. Multiple independent companies as well as countries have the capability to launch payloads into space. And as I said, the moon is a great resource to tap into.
Yes.
So I think technology has advanced tremendously, and it makes it much more viable now to have that sort of space-based economy.
Right. And in terms of the collaboration, you mentioned this before, cooperation between international countries, but also there are so many private companies, as you say, that are in this now. So the cooperation, whether it's between or among countries, with a mix of the private companies, doesn't it make it, a recipe for success where if we do work together, we can achieve those goals?
Absolutely. I mean, the risk is dramatically reduced just by what you said. There's multiple players, not just national agencies such as CASA, NASA, the European Space Agency, JAXA in Japan, but companies like Blue Origin, SpaceX, and many others that have different expertise, different special skill sets that they can bring into play.
Yes.
And it's worth remembering that even back in the Apollo days, a lot of that work was done by private companies. They were just hired by the government to build a certain component.
Right.
So we do have a broad infrastructure worldwide. I'm sure South Korea will be able to tap into that, and also your own excellent engineering, technological, and scientific base to have a successful program.
Yes. And, Professor, as more nations, including South Korea, kind of expand their space ambitions, how do you see the global, space landscape in the next, let's say, the next 20 years or so?
Well, there's a little bit of a second space race going on right now, I would say, with the moon. And I guess South Korea has thrown their hat into that race with renewed interest in getting humans back to the lunar surface. There's a particular focus on the south polar region of the moon, which is most likely to have water ice mixed in with the lunar dirt, which is a very valuable resource for water, oxygen, rocket fuel. It's great to have that in space so you don't have to carry it up from the Earth. And asteroids, which are smaller objects orbiting in the inner solar system, are another potential resource. So there's a lot of interest in exploiting those resources. It's sort of, in the Star Trek line of the final frontier.
Yes.
We're now sort of seeing a beginning of a realization of treating some of the aspects of space as a real frontier for exploration and use, as well as scientific discovery and exploration, which is my area.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insight into this very hot topic. Thanks for joining us today, Professor.
It's my pleasure. 감사합니다.
You're welcome. Once again, this was Professor Joshua Colwell, and we talked about not just Korea's ambitious lunar-based project, but just the second space race as it is ongoing between and among other countries right now. We're going to take a song break. This is a song request from Tommy, Fly Me to the Moon. This is a version by Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, and let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Welcome back, everybody. So I was reading some of your messages. I don't know about this one. Tommy said I look like a black ostrich today. And I said, really? And also, by the way, for those of you who might not be, Tommy and I are very friendly with each other. I don't know him personally. I said, really? An ostrich? Thanks. Kind of like, 진짜? And then he followed up with, an ostrich has really beautiful eyes. But I think he was just doing to appease me because, we are like Tom and Jerry. He's Jerry and I'm actually Tom. So thank you, I think, but not really. Other interesting comments that you were making. There was a side question thrown out there about your favorite 여러분의 몸 보신 메뉴는 뭔가요? 하고 food that gives you energy, right? Especially during this like heat wave. So there were some interesting choices. First up, we have 해물탕 from Haley. We have Benny with macaroni soup. I've never tried that. I wonder what it tastes like. And then 고수 says 저는 소고기. 소고기에 먹으면 힘나죠. That's and so it goes on and on about the different types of like 몸 보신 food. And some people like Tommy really don't. They like chicken, but they don't like 물에 빠진 chicken. 그렇게 생각하시는 분들이 있나요? Some of you might have the same idea. So whatever it is that you're choosing to consume today, hopefully, you can enjoy it whether you're by yourself or with loved ones. And I think it's like the whole process of eating. It can be an event, right? Where you really enjoy good food with good company. And whether it's, 삼계탕 or anything else, I hope you enjoy your lunch and dinner today. We're going to get to work in progress. Jennifer's here. It's time to check in with Jennifer. She's here for Work in Progress. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
We are in black.
I
matching
know.
color.
Exactly. And
ostrich.
그건 또 처음 들어봤네요. I've been called many things. 고양이라고도 많이 부른다요. I don't know about the ostrich. That's a new one. Hey, text topic is this, the real text topic. If a restaurant has good food, but bad service, do you go back?
No.
Oh, you're so emphatic. No.
Because I really value good service. Yeah.
Second question, side question. Like here in Korea, a little bit here and there, the tipping culture, the tip culture has been popping up.
Oh.
So what do you think about that?
I remember my parents, like they used to tip when they go to like really nice restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah, but usually this tipping culture, I think it applies to like older generation. But I haven't seen like young people tipping.
Some places they have a jar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I know everyone's like, right.
I haven't seen these places. Yeah, not in Korea.
And also, Tommy called you a black swan.
왜
이러세요 저한테만?
Much better.
I know.
I'm flattered. Thank you, Tommy.
All right. We digress. We got to get into work in progress. What's our topic?
Okay, so today we are looking at Korea's unemployment benefits.
Yes.
예, 실업급여 지원금 이런 거에 대해서 한번 살펴볼 텐데요. With the rising concerns about the funding shortage and the growing gap between jobless benefits and minimum wage, some are wondering if these benefits are helping people return to work or actually making them less motivated to look for a job.
Oh, that's a conundrum. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though, what sparked like the current conversations going on?
A recent article highlighted how the average unemployment benefit in Korea has now surpassed the minimum take-home pay for full-time workers in some cases. 이 실업급여 지원 그리고 지원금이 어떻게 보면 그 미니멈 웨이지를 좀 넘어선다. 네, 이런 의견들이 있었다고 해요.
Okay.
네. That led to concerns that some people might delay re-entering the workforce, especially in lower-paying jobs, because they can actually receive more by just staying home unemployed, at least temporarily.
Right. And that's why this is so controversial, right? But isn't the goal of unemployment support I would think, is to give people time, right? Time to find a good fit, to find a suitable job, not just any job, right? Because sometimes like you might be tempted like, okay, they're offering me a job. The pay is really not so great and I'm like overqualified, but I'm going to take it anyway.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid that, right?
Because you may feel pressure to find a job in a very short time.
Yes.
Yeah. In theory, unemployment benefits are meant to be a short-term safety net. They allow people to search for the right job, not just any job, like you said.
Yes.
And to avoid being trapped in unstable, low-quality work for long time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but when the system is stretched thin or when there are like fewer jobs overall, it becomes politically sensitive.
I'm sure. And I've heard this from people around me. Some people feel like the system is being abused.
Oh, yeah. But not everybody. Of course not.
Of course.
But some people,
Yes.
That's a worry. While most people use the support responsibly, critics argue that a small group of repeat claimants may view benefits as a fallback rather than a transition. But we also have to ask, are we blaming individuals or failing to address bigger structural issues like job quality and youth employment?
And unemployment, I'm sure.
Yeah, unemployment as well.
Right. So that's a really good question. And, speaking of youth, how does this affect young job seekers?
Well, young Koreans are in a tough spot. As you know, they are often highly qualified and educated.
Yes.
너무 고학력자들이 많잖아요. Yet underemployed.
That's true.
Many are looking not just for any job, but for a stable one that fits their long-term goals. Critics sometimes say they are being picky.
Okay.
But in reality, they are thinking long-term and not just for that bad thing. And that's not when you think about it, it's not a bad thing.
Yes, because these short-term solutions, they don't always lead to long-term satisfaction, correct?
No.
Yes. And so what do companies say about finding young talent?
Well, here's the irony. Companies often say, we can't find a suitable young talent. 적합한 사람이 없습니다. They often say, but they're also not providing enough entry-level opportunities or pathways for growth.
Yes.
So there's a disconnect between what job seekers want and what employers offer. There's a big gap.
Yes, and we often hear about the Nordic countries, they have a great welfare system, respectively. But how do they handle unemployment benefits? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they pay high tax as well, right?
Yes.
Country like in Norway, people who lose their jobs can receive unemployment benefits for up to 2 years, depending on their previous income and employment history. The system is generous, but with clear conditions. You must actively search for jobs and participate in job training or counseling programs. It's not a free pass, but it's a supportive and respectful system. Yeah.
I was stuck on the 2 years, so up to 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
So in Korea, from what I understand, maybe up to 9 months?
9 months, yeah. From 120 days to 270 days, to be exact. Yeah, that's 9 months.
Yes, so there is a difference, but as you mentioned, taxes are different, yes.
Yeah, but the difference is also cultural. In Norway, the public generally trusts the system and the people using it. So unemployment is seen as a temporary phase and not a failure. There's less stigma attached. And people use that time to upskill, reevaluate, or look for a role that fits, not just jump at the first offer.
Yes, and I'm thinking, it's not necessarily always just about the money, but it's the mindset and structure. And then to me personally, this is just my personal opinion, I always think an average person who might not be employed at the time, I'm sure in theory, they do want to find a suitable job. It's not like they're just lying there thinking.
I would be so anxious.
Right, exactly. Except for maybe a very, very few number of people who doesn't want to get out there and find a really great job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And there's something we can learn from a country like Norway.
Okay.
If we want people to find meaningful work, we need systems that support dignity and reintegration, not just short-term cost cutting.
Oh, that's an important point. I also hear that Korea's unemployment insurance fund is kind of running low on funds, right?
Oh, yes. That's the other side of the debate. Financial sustainability matters. So the question becomes, how do we offer meaningful support and manage costs at the same time? Some ideas include income-based papering, stricter but fair job search requirements, or incentives for early reemployment.
And we have a comment saying we really have to help young people get jobs that fit this society.
Quality job, yeah.
Yes, not just any job. Right, so are people really avoiding jobs because of unemployment benefits?
That's a point of debate. Some studies suggest that when benefits are too low, people rush into unstable jobs. First one that comes along. But when they are too high, these benefits are too high, people delay accepting lower offers.
Yes,
But the real solution is neither extreme. It's designing benefits to encourage active engagement without penalizing people for being thoughtful about their next step.
Yes. And so, as with most things, balance. Balance is important, right?
Yeah, the most important.
Yes.
We also need to shift how we talk about unemployment. Most job seekers aren't lazy, like we said earlier on. They are navigating a tough market, especially in tough economic times. We need policies that reflect empathy and economic reality.
Yes.
Also, think about it. Most young people, they spend like 20-some years studying really hard and yes, like getting all these skills and fulfilling requirements.
Right.
And they deserve to have a good job, stable job, right?
I agree, because they spend all those years studying, and most time, parents are supporting them to study. And I'm sure they are desperate to work, but, I don't know. I just want to think good things about people. Most of them, they're not trying to abuse the system, right?
No.
Yes.
그리고 정말 억울할 것 같아요. 이렇게 오랫동안 공부하고 준비했는데
right.
That there's no job that fits their requirements.
That's true.
Yeah. And with the rising housing costs, delayed marriage and job insecurity, youth today carry more financial and emotional pressure and burden than previous generations. So 3포 세대라고 들어보셨죠? They give up dating, marriage, and giving birth.
Yes.
So blaming them won't fix the system. Building trust and opportunity will.
So today, what is the main takeaway?
Well, that unemployment benefits are a bridge, not a destination. When well designed, they can help people cross over into better jobs and more stable futures.
Oh, that's so important to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So we're going to call it a wrap for today, but thank you so much for bringing us a very thought-provoking issue. And of course, we'll check in with you real soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody, this was Jennifer. And we're actually going to take a short song break. So here it is. This is 오르트 구름 by 윤하.
어둠만이 나의 전부였던 동안 숨이 벅차도록 달려왔잖아. We'll never say time's up. 경계의 끝자락 내 끝은 아니니까. 울타리 밖에 일렁이는 무언가 그 아무도 모르는 별일지 몰라. I wanna be there. I'm gonna be there. 벅찬 마음으로 이 궤도를 벗어나. Let's go. 새로운 길에 탐험가. Be on the run. 껍질을 깨뜨려버리자.
welcome back, everybody. As you know by now, we've been saying it over and over. Today is 중복, the peak of the dog days of summer. So as such, temperatures in some areas are expected to go up into the high 30s. So yes, it's really crucial to pay attention to your health and heat-related illnesses. Experts recommend that you take frequent showers to cool off. Wear loose-fitting light clothing. Drink water frequently, even if you don't feel thirsty. Not caffeinated drinks or alcohol. Try not to go outside nor be active between noon and 5 p.m. Those are the peak hours to avoid. And of course, check the weather forecast frequently because we all want you to be safe. And I was reading some of your comments and what you're going to have today. And I understand some of you really don't like the samgyetang. However, other people, they do enjoy it. For example, Kwon Jung-il-님 texting in saying that they like 삼계탕 좋아요. 저는 anything with chicken I really like, whether 물에 담그든지 튀기든지, it's all good. So I do not discriminate, but some people specifically, they really don't like the 삼계탕. So you know what? The good news is, in Korea, chicken is plenty. There's plenty of it. It's plentiful. There's a load of chicken places that you can check out. I'm not plugging any brand, by the way. So I do hope that you enjoy the peak of the dog days of summer. All right, it is time to call it a wrap for today. And I do want to give a shout out to our staff, our producer, Jo Ye-ji, our writers, Haley Seo, Soo Kim. I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow. Final song for today is 다시 사랑하자 by Kim Jo-an. Enjoy. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye.
시간이 지나면 모두 해결되는 일들 말로 다 설명할 수 없는 우리 일들 너는 미워해 너를 지울래 그런데 네가 왜 예뻐 보이는데 왜
너는 너무 사랑해 미안해 한마디로 충분해 네가 준 이별도 아픔도 깨끗이 잊을 만큼 잘못했다는 말도 그만해 네 볼에 떨어진 눈물이 말 대신 내 가슴에 스며들고 있어
Telling me what you're telling me girl Telling me what you're telling me girl Feel so good yeah Feel so right yeah
잊으려 해봤는데 미워도 했었는데 내 안에 넌 아직도 내 안에 한 발은 더 가지마 이제 날 떠나지마 내 품에 영원토록 내 품에 내가 원하던 네가 없었지 그래서 더 네가 미웠지 너 때문에 많이 아팠지 눈물이 마를 때까지 다시는 그러지 마딴 생각하지도 마 이제는 우리 절대 헤어지지 말자